I've had, X number of abortions because you are such a demon child. I have been in pretty much Portland, Oregon my entire life. My mom and dad had been married for, I think, some actual years. And, they met at a restaurant that they both worked at named Farrell's. Farrell's restaurant. It was like Farrell's Ice Cream Parlor. And it was a crazy, birthday party place, basically. So what they were known for is you'd walk in and it would just be these ridiculously huge suckers like this, and just walls of them. And then you'd get up and you'd get to the counter, and then they'd seat you, and then if it was your birthday and you ordered this insane birthday ice cream party thing, every single person that worked there would come out, and they had a stretcher that was like a mini stretcher that carried a ginormous thing full of sundae, ice cream sundae, and then they'd carry it, and they had the horns and the whistles and just all the everything, noisemakers, right? Like it was a ticker tape parade or something, right? And so they would sing a song and make noise. It was a huge production for every single birthday that came in, and quite frequently there would be lots of birthdays, so it was just insane. And the employees sang and danced, and it was just this whole big crazy thing. Well, my dad was the manager, my mom worked there, and I believe my stepdad worked there too. So that's how my parents met. Then some years go by, and I don't know the whole story, what was going on, but my whole family, my mom, my dad, my little brother, my uncles, everybody, aunts, all born in Portland. I was not born in Portland because my dad worked for that restaurant, and that restaurant apparently was expanding into other states around the country. So my dad and mom were in Ohio, which I know absolutely nothing about. I've never spent a minute of life there at all. Apparently just the first 6 or 9 months of my life I spent in Ohio, while my dad was opening up this restaurant, setting it up for the company. Go over there, teach everybody how the company does stuff, type of thing. That's my best of understanding. So I get the dubious distinction of being born in Ohio, but being from Portland. It's I love Portland. I've been there my whole life. I identify with Portland, but I don't get to say that I was born in Portland. It's I have to tell this story about how I ended up getting screwed out of my rightful birthplace. That's how my parents met. That's how I was born in Ohio versus Portland. Apparently, managing restaurants, dealing with restaurants and all that changed up for some reason. I don't know why, but when I start having my memories, revolve around my dad being a fisherman, working at the coast, not being home a lot. A lot of early memories are just being home alone with my mom. My dad was like on fishing trips. I think he would like go maybe on even long-term fishing trips just to stack some money up. I don't know exactly all the details. The first house that I ever remember being in was this little house, and when I say little, I mean little. Portland had a lot of its houses, specifically in Northeast Portland, were built in the 40s when they brought mass amount of people, namely African Americans, from the South to Portland and moved them into these little tiny houses that they just built by the tons. This little cookie cutter bungalows or something they call them. They're just like one room, one bathroom, a living room, a kitchen. In some cases they had a basement just because of the way the property was leveled out. Some they don't. But they're just all over Portland. A lot of them have been remodeled and added on to. I've driven by this one. It's never changed. I haven't driven by it recently. This little house, lived there. A lot of my memories start when my mom was pregnant with my little brother. I remember having to make my own sandwich. So I probably would have been like 4 years old, and my mom literally couldn't get up off the couch or something or wherever she was. And then one of the earliest memories is climbing on the counters, dragging the chairs. I had to have been 4 because my little brother was born when I was 4.5. So yeah, I was in my 4s and making my own sandwich, climbing up on the counters and all this. So, stories my mom tells me about me before I could remember me, right? So, I was supposed to be born on Christmas Day. That's when I was scheduled to be born, I think, but the doctor apparently wanted his day off. So, and I might have already been late or something like this, but so I was taking out, whoosh, that's the cesarean, that's how they do cesarean sections, whoosh, a day early. Yeah, I guess that's the joke, that the doctor wanted his day off. So, so I get to be born on Christmas Eve, not Christmas Day. Both horrible birthdays. So my mom tells me that when I was in the thing that they put the babies in after they're born, and apparently they just, or back then, I don't know if they do this now, I bet they don't, because I seem to remember hearing stories about lost babies and stuff. So I don't think they just stick all the babies in one room anymore, but apparently that's how they did it back in the day. They just had a whole big room and every baby was in its own thing. So apparently every other baby's just sitting there laying there on his back. I was apparently rolled over and trying to get up out of the bin at brand new. Not my story, my mom's story. So, and then my mom's stories all kind of revolve around me having too much energy, doing more, running and yelling and being a terrorizer, just everywhere. My mom, I was too much for my mom. That is her side of the story. I was always too much, to the point where she told me at one point, I've had, X number of abortions because you are such a demon child. And apparently this demonness comes from like just having more energy and not enough stuff to do. I'm just guessing, who knows. I don't know how a little baby has more energy than other little babies, but I was a huge baby, I think, or something maybe. Anyway, so that was kind of her storyline about me in my early days, that I was just such a terrorizer that she just doesn't need any more. She had my little brother. I guess he lucked out. I had really turned into a total, complete terror. So this little house I grew up in, I think I was there until I was 5. So the first 5 years of my life, which like the first year or so, no, not even a year, months. The first few months I was in Ohio, then back in Portland, and now I'm in Portland. I'm living in this house with my parents. It's not exactly how you talk about being a fucking 4-year-old, but so memories from this time of my life. Like I touched on before, there's violent memories, which I don't need to go over every single one of those. Like, oh, and this time it was like this. Yeah, so there was my dad yelling, screaming, hitting. And so other things I remember would be a train that I was given as a present that someone stepped on at some point, and I remember spending quite a bit of time taking the train apart and trying to figure out how to fix it. So fixing this little broken electric, I think it was electric or wind up or something like that. So I don't remember how all that went. I probably didn't end up actually fixing it. I also, the garbage man, a black man, for some reason, he would show up with garbage that people had thrown away, and he would go through people's garbage actively. Maybe they would set things aside that weren't total garbage or something to this effect. But then he would give that still, he had given me toys on more than one occasion. And he would come in the garage and my mom would give him garbage and he would take it out. So I remember this. I'm not sure if he was a regular garbage man or some kind of trash hauler dude or something like this. I remember him as the garbage man. A big black dude that was very nice and gave me toys. What else do I remember from that time in the house? We had a cherry tree in the backyard. And I remember climbing the cherry tree, eating the cherries. My dad built a plywood box in the backyard to put an ice machine on top. And so it would be an ice box, basically. But he never actually finished it. It turned out to be my play fort for a while. I also remember that I don't think I had a bicycle when I was that little, but I think I was I'm sure I was riding my mom's 10-speed at that age. So before 5 years old, I was big enough to ride a 10-speed. My dad was into model trains, building little models. You'd buy a box, it'd be full of plastic parts that were all poured into forms, and you'd have to, depending on the level of the complexity of the model, some were snapped together, right? So you trim the parts off and then they'd snap together, so you didn't have to use glue. There was lots of model building when I was a kid. Model trains. I remember my dad had just probably half a sheet of plywood with a little oval, circle, track, of just a little, I think it was an HO gauge, HO. And he would just run those around in circles, and I guess that was super amazing back in those days. I remember watching, now this is just all the memories that come to my head from the time that I lived in this house, and I'm pretty sure I moved out of this house when I was about 5. So basically that's what this whole is, just the very earliest memory.